Hi, welcome back to Cost Accounting. We're going to work on exercise 4.2, the computation of equivalent units. And what we're talking about here is thinking about the fact that when material goes into a work in process group or a process group, and at the end of the period, so here we're looking at October 31st as the end of the period, how many units have come out and how many units have been completed, but also how many units are still there that still need to be completed. They have costs, and somehow we need to assign some cost to those units that are not quite done. So sometimes we call them equivalent units of production, and we're trying to think about, okay, how much do we need to take into account for information, for work that was somewhat done and it has costs associated with it, but it wasn't a whole thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at materials and we're going to look at conversion, remembering that conversion is direct labor and overhead. So I'll put that here, conversion. The term means direct labor and overhead, manufacturing overhead. And you may remember that because that was part of our Chapter 2 terminology conversion. And we're going to work this problem. So it says the department started with 390,000 units into production during the month and transferred 450,000 completed units to the next department. So what's required is to compute the equivalent units of production for October, assuming that the company uses the weighted average method for accounting for units and costs. So we start with October 1st. We don't really need the October 1st information because these 150 units, they're either still in this 130 units that are left or they're part of the 450,000 units that were completed during the month. So that were transferred out. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about units transferred out. And they tell us that for units transferred out, they were 450,000 completed units. So under materials and under conversion, I'm going to put 450,000 because they were completed and they were transferred out. Next, we're going to take a look at the work in process. So we have two work in process areas, materials and work in process conversion. Those are our two different areas here. And for work in process materials, we have 130 units at 70%. So I'm going to go ahead and say 130,000 units times 0.70 or times 70%. And then for conversion, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say at 130,000 units, and I'm going to multiply it times 0.5 because for this one we're at 50%. Remember that we're focusing on October 31st, and anything from October 1st, this 150,000 probably got completed and moved here. We don't multiply the unit transferred out by any percentage because it's complete units, so we don't have to take a fraction of it. And then the last thing we're going to do is get equivalent. Oh, my E doesn't want to work. Equivalent units of production. And we're going to sum. So we're going to say 450,000 plus 91,000 and 450,000 plus 65,000. And these are going to be our equivalent units of production for both materials and conversion. That completes exercise 4.2. Thanks and have a great day.